Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with an Ezreal commentary guide. Now this one was actually requested by someone in the comments. I'm not exactly saying the person's name because I'm not sure if the person would like that or not. But yeah, we finally have the Ezreal commentary guide for that person. And another thing is, we finally fixed the scoreboard problem. I figured out how to do the custom interface where I can move up the scoreboard. Or rather, I don't know if that's called the scoreboard. I think the scoreboard is actually the thing at the top, but the bottom thing with the items and the KDA, I moved it up so that the iPhone gestures line doesn't actually block the last row, which just so happens to be where I'm at in this particular game. So we can actually now see the KDA and the items of the last two people of each team, or the last person of each team, I should say. So Ezreal, honestly, for like the past couple of months, his build hasn't really changed at all. Basically, his build is going to be Mana Mune, Sheen item, generally Stasis. Then you go for a Serelda's Grudge, a Blade of the Rune King, and then a Guardian Angel. So generally, his build is pretty much just stayed the same, hasn't really changed at all. When you start off the game, you like to go for the Longsword. Then on your first back, you try to get Tear and Sheen. If you can't get it, of course, you just get the Tear, and then you get the Sheen later on when you can. So the Sheen item, you have three choices when it comes to Ezreal. You can go for the Triforce build, which is the one I go for the most, because it gives you the most damage and the most carry potential. And you can go for the Divine Sunderer build, which is the build that I went for in this game, because of how tanky the enemy team is. And your final option is of course going to be the Iceborne Gauntlet build. Now that build I personally never go for because that is sort of a more utility build where you do get a bit more armor and you get that slow feel, but I don't personally like it. Anyways, we've been talking a lot about the build. Let's talk a little bit about the gameplay first. Here we Arcane Shift in, we exhaust the Vayne and try to pelt her with our Mystic Shots. Now unfortunately here, Amumu, who has only one Amp Tome, is killing all of us with his cry. Like, Amumu's cry is literally killing all of us, which I do find pretty funny and pretty incredulous. When I was in the cry for so long, I'm like, man, this cry is killing me. But yeah, we did have that. So back to the items, I normally never actually go for Iceborne Gauntlet because I personally either want the tank busting abilities like in this match, or I want the carry potential with the Triforce. But I do know that some people do like going for the Iceborne Gauntlet build, and it is still a really good and viable build, just it doesn't suit my playstyle personally. So in this match, I'm of course going for the Divine Sunderer build because there are a lot of tanky characters on the enemy team. We have the Nasus, who's really tanky, we have the Thresh, who's going to be really tanky as well. Same goes with the Amumu, although this Amumu goes a little bit more towards the AP side eventually, but we still have three really tanky characters on the enemy team. And even Kassadin normally builds the Rod of Ages, which does give him health as well. So he's going to be, I wouldn't go so far to say as tanky, but he's going to have a little bit more health as well. That is why for the runes, we've actually taken, in addition to Conqueror, we've taken Giant Slayer. So Giant Slayer is going to work on pretty much every champion on their team aside from Vayne. So a ton of Giant Slayer value in this particular game. And then I believe I've gone for the Nullifying Orb and the Hunter Genius. Now, honestly, the last rune, the Hunter Genius slot, you can pretty much take whatever you want because there isn't really any rune that's particularly good on Ezreal, but there isn't anything that's particularly bad either. Like when I say particularly bad, I'm talking about comparing like Hunter Genius to like, for example, like Sweet Tooth, or like for example, Nimbus Cloak. Or all that sort of thing, Mana Flow ban. Like there's nothing that's really that bad on Ezreal, but nothing really too good either because Hunter Genius, Ezreal doesn't really need it. His cooldown's already really low. But yeah, I just decided to go for that one in this match. So now that we've pretty much covered what you should go for the build and the runes very briefly, because we have already did a guide on that. Now we can jump into the gameplay where here you can see Leona has all in on the enemy bot lane. And unfortunately Vayne escaped with 1 HP. Thresh is on the run. He was about to escape with 1 HP, but Rammus comes in with the ulti and does manage to get the kill. Here I'm stuck in the cry again. Curse of the Sad Mommy connects. I'm going forward to kill the Vayne, and once again I realize I'm dying to the cry. It's absolutely sad. Amumu picks up a triple kill. Amumu now 6-2 and 1. He's getting really fed. Now the really funny thing about this Amumu is, if you notice his build, he's gone for haunting guys into Rylai's Crystal Scepter. This is the old build where haunting guys gave you the increased damage per second, the madness passive, but the new haunting guys no longer has that passive, and it is now only on Liandry's Torment. So Amumu is actually going for an outdated build where the haunting guys doesn't really give him what he's looking for anymore. So he should have gone for Rylai's Crystal Scepter straight, or for Liandry's Torment straight if that's what he was going for. So it's really funny that Amumu is even using an outdated build, but his cry is still killing me. It's killed me twice. It's given me like both of my deaths so far. Regardless, we do manage to pick up both our Manamune as well as our Sheen. So here, we spot Amumu trying to go in on us at the dragon. He's alone. I managed to snipe him out with the max range Q and get the shutdown on Amumu. And here we are, of course, going to try to turn back onto the dragon, but the whole enemy team is pretty much just respawning already. Nice stun onto the Vayne by the Leona. Leona manages to escape with a sliver of HP. The entire enemy team is coming in though. Katarina tries to jump away. I get hooked by Thresh, but everybody goes for Katarina instead of me. So because of that, I managed to actually snipe out the Thresh using my ulti, and because of that, I do escape to the honey fruit, and I am able to recover my health and not die. It's really funny how the Kassadin and I forgot who was the other person with him, pretty much just ignored me and just went straight for the Katarina. I found that really funny considering I got CC'd by Thresh, and I was pretty much a free kill at that point, but they decided to just ignore me and instead go for the Vayne. That was pretty interesting to say the least. Anyways, here the Amumu does pick up the dragon, but they are caught in the fight. Katarina gets the kill on Amumu and gets the reset. I jump straight in, get the kill onto the Nasus, and we're on the chase for more kills. Graves picks up the kill on Kassadin, and I try to snipe out the Vayne to no avail. But yeah, you can see that pretty much they do get the dragon, but we do win the fight. So the goal is swinging in our favor because of that fight. Now here Vayne is trying to defend her tower, but I have double buffs and I do quite a bit of damage now with Sheen. So here you guys can see I nearly end up bursting her instantly. I flash Q, but she does flash out of the way. So at the end of the day, the ADCs trade flash for flash. Not the worst scenario in the world. I think if I was a little bit faster on my Q, might have been able to actually clip her before she flashed. But I was after I flashed, I had to take half a second to aim the Q to make sure I don't just whiff the Q outright. Anyways, here what we're doing is, of course, we're just getting some tower damage. We spot Kassadin coming up, so we're gonna have to quickly back off before we get caught between a rock and a hard place. Alright, so here we actually were intending to back, but after Thresh went for this aggressive hook, pretty obvious that Kassadin was coming in. Really nice play by Leona, and we end up actually killing both of them under the tower. So really nice chain of events for us, and we are able to back and complete our Divine Sunderer. So Ezreal generally takes about 3 items to actually get strong, and the 3 items are of course your Mirror Mana, which is of course the evolved Manamune. Your Sheen item in this match, I have the Divine Sunderer, as well as your Sorrel's Grudge. When you hit 3 items is when you are at your strongest spike in the game. Of course, when you get 2 items inclusive of the Mirror Mana, you're at a very strong point as well, but at 3 items you really spike. Of course, with every other item you get stronger, but the strongest spike in power that you have is at 3 items. So here, we of course see that the enemy team, it has picked up the Herald, and Kassadin has picked up a triple kill, which is pretty horrendous. So here, really nice again by the Leona for the engage. Barely takes any damage from the tower even, and we get a free kill onto the Vayne, who cannot defend the tower 2v1. This is a very common mistake made by ADCs, including myself. I do make this mistake from time to time as well. If you have a hard engage tank support on the enemy team, it's really difficult to defend the tower by yourself, because they can simply tank the tower and dive you when there is knowledge that your whole team is on the other side of the map, which is exactly what we did in this particular scenario. Alright, anyways, here we spot the Nasus. I'm just going to steal the big crowd from him to make it you know, such that he wastes a lot of his effort. And we're just going to chase him off. Really difficult for us to kill the Nasus at this point. We do need our Sorrel's Grudge to start really getting the armor penetration. Sorrel's Grudge with the Divine Sunderer, with the Giant Slayer, should allow me to shred the tanks of their team really easily. Well, Amumu is kind of building AP, but I believe Rylai's and Liandry's both give health anyways, so he is still going to take extra damage from the Giant Slayer, the Divine Sunderer, and basically everything. So yeah, so here I do a lot of damage. So here you can see I'm like chipping away at Kassadin with my Qs. He's already like taking like about half his health off from 2 Qs. Here I tried to snipe out Kassadin. I arc and shift forward for the kill on Kassadin. Unfortunately, I do get not point and click. I do get stunned by Amumu's bandage toss, I believe, into the condemned by the Vayne. So the chain CC makes it pretty much such that I couldn't move, and did go a little bit too aggressive there. I thought I could get the kill on the Kassadin because at this current point in time, aside from the Nasus, the Kassadin, actually honestly, pretty much their whole team is a problem except for their bot lane, but Vayne will eventually become a problem. Like, Amumu has been getting a lot of kills and he's building AP, so he's a threat. Nasus is the most fed member on their team, so he's a threat. Kassadin has late game and he already has his first 2 items, so he's a really big threat. And Vayne's gonna be a threat eventually. Thresh is gonna be a threat because of his utility, like even though he's not fed at all. But yeah, so here they pretty much overextend to try to get the tower. They're all really low and our whole team is on the chase. Graves picks up the kill on Thresh with the end of the line. Rammus with his powerball into his ultimate does actually catch out the Nasus, and Graves is able to finish off the kill onto the Nasus. Here I'm expecting a Mumu ultimate, which is why I'm actually walking away. But looking at the replay, his ultimate actually wasn't even up. So I am able to pick up the kill onto the Vayne and pick up the double onto the Amumu. Graves picks up the 3rd kill onto... Actually, it's not Graves. Katarina picks up the 3rd kill onto the Kassadin. And this pretty much gives us an ace, which allows us to pick up the mid lane tier 2. Now, originally, I wanted to force mid lane tier 3 with my team because only Thresh is there to defend. But me and Graves are both really low, so I decided to not really take the risk to actually go for the tower, and instead we're gonna fall back. And honestly, I think that starting Dragon is actually really risky as well because 3 of us are pretty low. Rammus and Leona are actually coming. However, the enemy team is all respawned. We are a little bit low on resources, particularly me actually, because Graves kind of lifesteal off the Herald, not the Herald, the Skull over there. So here I'm probably at the most threat. Here I get hooked instantly and I die. So yeah, as I said, it's not the best decision for me. And in addition, Amumu steals the dragon, so we end up not even getting the dragon. However, Katarina does get the resets, and she is able to go in, and I believe she can finish off the fight. There we go. Vayne, really questionable decision, walks straight back into the dagger, into the waiting arms of Katarina's Shimpo. So there goes the entire enemy team. So overall, we lose the dragon and we lose 3, but we do get an ace and we do get an inhibitor. So arguably, it's not a bad trade. Now, I will say that this Rammus did actually declare and say that he wasn't a jungle main. So he has already got like 2 dragons stolen from him, if I'm not mistaken. And at this point, the Katarina and the Graves is getting really tilted at the Rammus because pretty much we've been winning this match in terms of like team fights and all. Like by and large, we've been winning the team fights, which is supposed to allow us to get objectives. But every time the enemy Amumu does respawn, comes in and steals the objective from us, which is really unfortunate. I believe he lost 2 or 3 objectives at this point. I think he lost either 2 dragons and a herald, or like a dragon and a herald, or 2 dragons or something like that. I'm really not sure at this point. I'm not really keeping track of how many objectives my jungler loses because no real point in that. It doesn't really benefit me in any way. So here I spot Katarina clearing out the ward. I expect the enemy team to come in, which they actually do. So I'm waiting in the bush to try to surprise them. Turns out a little bit too many enemies turn up. But we are able to actually capitalize and get the kill. Here I'm flashing forward to actually try to pick up the kill on Kassadin. Rammus picks up the kill on Kassadin. I actually get the kill onto Amumu, and both of them actually end up flashing forward for the kill. Here I spot Graves in trouble. I'm running straight down to exhaust the Nasus and save the Graves life, and at the same time pick myself up the double. So here with 3 enemies dead, only the enemy bot lane is left. As we know, the enemy bot lane is the least threatening members of the enemy team. Although Vayne now is at 2 items, scaling into late game, she's going to become a problem real soon. But at this point, still not too big of a problem. Pretty much gives us a free Baron, especially with the jungler dead. We don't actually need, we don't actually have Amumu up to actually steal the dragon. Steal the Baron this time, so we're all good. Now, something else to note is, at this point in time, I'm the most fed member in the game. I have 13.5k gold, 13.7k gold. At 3 items, almost to my 4th item, so I'm in a really strong state at the moment. Graves and Katarina are really closely behind, so my team is doing really well. All our carries are really fed. However, on the enemy team, Amumu is really fed. So is the Nasus, and Vayne and Kassadin are catching up slowly but surely. So still a relatively even game, but my team definitely has the advantage in this scenario. So here we have the Baron buff, and we already have mid lane inhib, so there's no real reason to actually push mid lane. The best play is to actually push the other two lanes. So here we're going to talk a little bit about macro. So here what we want to do is, we can see that I'm pinging Graves to go for top wave, and Graves is actually listening to go for top wave. I give him the thumbs up. So what we want to do here is, you can see that the whole enemy team is actually responding to our bot lane push. All 5 members are here. So what we want to do is, ideally we don't want to commit to any fight. We just want to let me poke them out and let the Baron minions push the tower. In the meantime, Graves can actually push down the other lane for free because no one is there to stop him. What we want to do is, we just want to let the minions push. We want to stop the backs if possible. Now here the issue is that sometimes it isn't possible. So here Thresh gets an engage and the enemy team full commits onto us. We cannot simply just not fight and just let them kill us. So we have to go in and we have to actually fight. Amumu actually lives on 1 HP. Rammus gets over aggressive and dies because he was trying to go for Amumu. I do a lot of poke damage, but both Leona and Katarina are left at 1 HP, unfortunately. So here I spot Graves actually on the inhibitor, which is why I'm actually walking back here to stop Thresh and Nasus from backing. Here I nearly kill the Nasus. Thresh hooks me into the tower, but I do get the stasis. Leona comes back in for a stun and ultimate onto the Thresh, which allows me to actually kill the Thresh. And at the same time, when this entire shenanigans was happening, this allowed me to buy time for the Graves to actually push in and get the inhibitor. So this is one of the macro plays that you can do if your team is cooperating. If you have one member pushing another lane and the rest of the enemies on your side, you can just pretty much just delay their time and don't allow them to respond to the other member. All you really need to do, you don't have to commit to a fight, you just need to delay their time so that that member can push. In this case, we did that relatively successfully. I say relatively because we did get what we wanted, which is the inhib, but we didn't really not commit onto them because they committed onto us. So we were forced to fight, which is pretty much what we don't want to actually do. But the fight did turn out well eventually, and we did get an inhibitor, so overall it's all good. Alright, so here we're on to the next dragon. Here I get a pretty nice ultimate across the pretty much entire enemy team. Here I'm just shooting across the wall, finding Arcade Shift in, get the kill onto the Amumu, but unfortunately I get caught by the Thresh. I get the kill onto Kassadin as well. I hop over the wall, but Vayne has her flashes over and kills me. Now unfortunately, during this entire time that I was killing Amumu and Kassadin, my entire team manages to die somehow. So we do get aced cleanly, and that's really bad because this gives the enemy triple dragon. So the bad thing about triple dragon is pretty obvious. We're only 2k gold ahead of the enemy team, so we're not like ahead by leaps and bounds. We're not 10k gold ahead, so this is a really close competitive match. And the enemy team now has triple dragon, which is a really big advantage. So arguably after triple dragon, the enemy team is actually in a better position than us. And in addition to triple dragon, we have Nasus pushing down the mid lane inhib, so we don't have that double inhib advantage anymore either. So here my whole team is actually going for the Nasus. Surprising, Katarina does a lot of damage to Nasus, and Nasus does die. So we do get the pick on Nasus, but we do lose triple dragon, we do lose inhibitor. So it's getting to be a really fun and interesting match, to say the least. So currently I'm 15-5 and 11 KDA, doing really well. Kind of trying my best to carry my team. The Rammus isn't doing too hot. However, the Katarina and the Graves, they're not doing too badly, at least in terms of gold, but honestly they're not making really good use of their gold. I don't think they're doing nearly enough damage for how much items they have. Graves pretty much has close to full build at this point, so he should be doing a lot more damage than what he actually is. And kind of same goes for Katarina in my opinion. But anyways, we're not here to complain about teammates. We're here to, of course, talk more about Ezreal and what you can do as Ezreal. So here, we're pretty much just going to try our best. Goal is pretty much even at this point. We spot the enemies on the Baron. I'm pinging that the enemies are on Baron. It's pretty obvious. My whole team does respond. We spot the Baron at really low HP. And Rammus actually manages to ult over and steal the Baron. He did lose like 3 objectives, but he did get the big one, so I guess I'm not gonna really complain too much. We do get the Baron steal. We do get the picks onto Amumu and Vayne, 2 crucial members of the enemy team. So here, what we want to do is try to push down the last inhibitor and also just try to push down lanes in general. The top wave is already huge. So the enemies already have to respond to the top wave. In the meantime, me and Ram is pushing down mid wave. Graves is pushing down the bot wave. Elder Dragon you can see is spawning, but at this point we don't even need the Elder Dragon. We just can push with the Baron. And if the enemies try to go for Elder Dragon, we end the game. So pretty much Elder Dragon is out of bounds. Here I'm focusing Kassadin. I ult to get the snipe onto the Kassadin. Kassadin of course is a big late game threat at this point with nearly full build. So we gotta kill the Kassadin first. And next we go for the inhib. Of course, now Vayne and Amumu have respawned. Nasus is still up. And we're just gonna pretty much at this point let the minions end the game. We have a couple of huge minion waves, and the cannon minions should be able to end the game, as you guys can see. So we don't have to like commit and die or anything like that. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Take note of how much damage Ezreal does, by the way, guys. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.